Are you sure? It's Valyrian steel.
It's wasted on a cripple.
I've forfeited the right to claim this sword. It's yours. It'd serve you well. And your children after you.
Hi everyone, it's Charlie. I've got a lot of questions about where all the Valyrian steel weapons are on the show in Season 8, Episode 1. There are a lot of main characters that have them. There are a couple really big ones that we haven't seen on the show yet that they might choose to bring into the season. And there's the X factor of Gendry now in Samwell with all those books on how to fashion dragonglass, and Bran Stark, who has the knowledge of how to forge Valyrian steel. We've got less than a week to go before the premiere. It's only going to get crazier. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I'll be doing episode videos all season long. We're also doing a weekly HBO Now giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. So I just broke this down like a top 10 list. There are obviously way more than 10 Valyrian steel swords and more Valyrian items, suits of armor, other things made of Valyrian steel in the series. So some of these I just combined. But starting with number 10, Jon Snow, as you've known, has had a long claw for several seasons now, given to him by the old bear, Jeor Mormont, who refashioned the hilt from its original bear design to a white wolf design denoting Jon Snow's House Stark.
Changed the pommel from a bear to a wolf. But it's still Longclaw.
Recently, Jon tried to give it back to Jorah Mormont during Season 7 when they met north of the Wall, as it was the honorable thing to do. Valyrian steel swords are extremely rare in present day. It almost always are passed down within households as near priceless heirlooms. So Jorah told Jon to keep it as he lost all rights to it when he started selling his own vassals into slavery. As he said during the clip, "May this protect you, your family, and your children to come." 9, though, very important, we see Jorah Mormont in the Season 8 trailer with Heartsbane on his hip, meaning that at some point before the big battle of Winterfell, Samwell gives it to him to use. Heartsbane is the ancestral House Tarly blade that Samwell yoinked back during Season 6 after his father Randyll Tarly told him off with Gilly. Jorah is on my death predictions list for this season, so if he falls in battle at some point, the sword would pass back to Samwell by rights. 8, Brienne of Tarth still has Oathkeeper, one half of Ned Stark's former Valyrian greatsword, Ice. You can see it attached to her hip here on the front line, standing next to Pod at the Battle of Winterfell with all the Knights of the Vale behind them. That was given to her by Jaime Lannister along with her special suit of armor back during Season 4 when he tasked her with finding Sansa Stark and protecting her. When she eventually completed her mission, she tried to give it back to Jaime, but he told her to keep it as a way of showing her how much he respected her and how much he cared about her. This is actually a really important setup for payoffs during Season 8, because the way the actors talk about that scene, Nikolai Coster-Waldau says that he was playing the moment as if it were Jaime giving her his heart, and the sword was just a metaphor for that. So cannot wait for that reunion, but should Brienne survive Season 8, she would just continue to keep Oathkeeper and pass it down to her future potential children or someone of her choosing. 7, Jaime Lannister has been wielding Widow's Wail, the other half of Ned Stark's Valyrian greatsword Ice. You could call his and Brienne's reunion two halves made one, two hearts made one because of the metaphor of their relationship, but also two halves of one sword brought back together. But regardless of who lives or dies, I don't think that anyone will ever reforge Ice from Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail. They'll just continue to be used as two separate swords. What happened with Widow's Wail a couple seasons ago, though, is that when Joffrey died, it was buried with him, but then quickly after that, Tywin Lannister had the sword removed from his grave before he was killed by Tyrion at the end of Season 4. The sword was taken to Casterly Rock for safekeeping, just waiting for the next Lannister heir, or for Jaime to formally become Tywin's heir. Not such a big secret that Tywin Lannister had tried to get Jaime to renounce his vows as a member of the Kingsguard so that he could formally pass his title in Casterly Rock with all their possessions to him as his traditional heir.
Oh, you'll return to Casterly Rock and rule in my stead.
Jaime is on my death predictions list during Season 8 though, so if or when he dies, Widow's Wail would pass to Tyrion first, and if Tyrion also dies because he's starting to approach my death predictions list, then it would also be possible for Jon Snow or Sansa Stark to take it back, as Tywin Lannister technically stole it from Ned Stark in the first place, so technically the blade belongs to House Stark.
Where did you get this much Valyrian steel?
From someone who no longer had need of it.
6, Arya Stark still has the Cat's Paws Valyrian dagger with the dragon bone and ruby hilt given to her by Bran Stark during Season 7, because as he said, it would be wasted on a cripple. Arya Stark is an assassin now by trade, so if anyone was going to wield the dagger that had been affectionately named after an assassin back during Season 1, it would be her. There are a lot of theories about the true name of that dagger and where it came from originally, where Littlefinger got it from, because the exact same design shows up in Samwell's book on Targaryen history in Dragonglass. That book is probably going to help Gendry make all those Dragonglass weapons during Season 8. There are a lot of other Valyrian steel weapons, items, and armor in present day that belong to other characters who are either still alive or they're book characters that the TV show has either changed or not done yet. So number 5, Lady Forlorn, is a Valyrian steel sword belonging to Lyn Corbray, head of House Corbray of the Vale. He's on Littlefinger's payroll in the books. The last we saw of him was when Littlefinger brought Sansa to the Vale. The TV show has done a version of the character called Vance Corbray, which is sort of a reference to book Lyn Corbray, but there was no mention on the TV show of him possessing the ancestral Valyrian blade, House Corbray, so potentially it exists in their family. 4, Dark Sister, one of the other most famous Valyrian steel swords, was one of the original Valyrian blades belonging to Aegon the Conqueror's sister, Visenya, sister wife I should say. Its last known possessor was the Blood Raven, aka Brynden Rivers, also known as the Three-Eyed Raven who you saw on the TV show. George R. R. Martin has supported the theory that he took it with him when he took the black originally, which was at the same time that Maester Aemon took the black as a younger person, but if you're confused about their relationship, the Three-Eyed Raven was the great-uncle of Maester Aemon, so when this person, the Blood Raven, took the black, he was about 58 years old, so he was a very old member of the Night's Watch compared to Maester Aemon, who was a young man. He eventually rose to become Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, but then one day just disappeared while ranging north of the Wall. It's believed that he answered the call of the Children of the Forest to become the Three-Eyed Raven, and he would have had Dark Sister with him when he did that. So technically the sword, Dark Sister, should have been in the Three-Eyed Raven's cave beneath the weirwood, but the show didn't really get into his personal history, they didn't get into the Blood Raven of it all, so technically Dark Sister is still out there somewhere. 3, I get a lot of questions about this. There's the Valyrian steel suit of armor worn by Euron Greyjoy in Aeron Greyjoy's fever dream vision during Winds of Winter. The only reason that we know about this is because George R. R. Martin would read excerpts of Winds of Winter, and in one of these excerpts, he's reading a vision that Aeron Greyjoy is having. It's a future timeline where Euron Greyjoy is sitting on the Iron Throne in a Valyrian steel suit of armor, the throne resting on top of a mountain of skulls, and the gods are all impaled on the Iron Throne. So it's Aeron, the Damphair, having this darkest timeline apocalyptic nightmare vision of what might come to pass should Euron be successful in his quest to take the Iron Throne. I do not expect the TV show to take things quite that far because Euron and the Ironborn are much bigger characters in the books than they are in the TV show right now. But number 2, there are all kinds of missing blades and other types of Valyrian steel weapons and items which appear in the books but we have not seen on the show yet, like the Valyrian steel horn, Dragonbinder, that Euron Greyjoy possesses in the books that he may or may not use against one of Daenerys' dragons in the future the way that Qyburn has been using the scorpions to take down Daenerys' dragons. There's the ancestral blade of Aegon the Conqueror, Blackfyre, last seen in the possession of the Golden Company heirs to House Blackfyre many, many years ago, but it's been lost since the Blackfyre rebellions, so potentially it's somewhere in the east. They could choose to do it on the TV show, but it's been so long that I wouldn't hold out hope for that. There's Bright Roar, the ancestral blade of House Lannister, which was lost when one of their ancestors named King Tommen of the Rock sailed on an expedition to the ruins of ancient Valyria and was never seen again. In present day, Tyrion's uncle, Jaerion Lannister, Tywin's younger brother, went looking for it, also never to be heard from again. And even though I get a lot of questions about what's going on with Arthur Dayne's special sword, Dawn, that's not a Valyrian steel sword. It's made from a meteorite, but it's a great sword just like Ned Stark's ice. The version the TV show went with was a single-handed blade so that Arthur Dayne could be extra badass dual-wielding against young Ned Stark during that Robert's Rebellion flashback.
And now it begins.
Because it was crafted from a fallen meteorite, the sword was said to be as strong as Valyrian steel and it glowed with a milky white color. Ned Stark took the blade and Arthur Dayne's remains after he was killed in battle back to Starfall, his family's home, and is just waiting for an heir to pick it up again. There is an heir named Edric Dayne in the books in present day who could pick it up, but the show has not done that character yet, so I don't expect to see Dawn on the TV show again in present day. But number 1, there's the issue of Gendry forging special dragonglass weapons for everyone during Season 8. The actor Joe Dempsey said that Gendry has a fairly predictable role in the first part of the season, meaning that he'll probably be using the instructions from Samwell's book on dragonglass to learn how to fashion weapons from it. arrowheads, spears for the Unsullied, special weapons like axes, warhammers, maybe a few other surprises. We also learned that he's going to make himself a special new weapon to replace the warhammer he made during Season 7 when he ran that marathon and had to give it to Tormund Giantsbane. Yes, Samwell and Bran Stark together probably have the secret to creating new Valyrian steel, and it's implied that it's a mixture of dragon glass with castle forged steel smelted with dragon fire and maybe some blood magic. But I'm not going to hold my breath for Gendry creating new Valyrian steel. It would be awesome though if he does that during the season. But let me know in the comments if you think we'll see some of those missing Valyrian steel weapons on the TV show during Season 8. I'll be posting more bonus videos to get ready for Season 8 Episode 1 before this weekend, so leave all your big questions in the comments if there's special videos that you want me to make. Congratulations to the winner for my last big giveaway, Jared Talbot. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here for my non-spoilery breakdown of all the early reviews, reactions, and details from Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 1, and click here for my Season 8 Top 10 Death Predictions. Thank you so much for watching. We're almost there. Congratulations, everybody. You made it. Just a couple more days to go.